So, David, please, without further ado, come and join us. Please welcome David Sheepshanks.
Well, thank you, Afi. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's lovely to be here. We're also on schedule and on budget. The first iteration of the National Football Centre, and many of you may not be familiar, as Ufi said, with St George's Park, believe it or not, was in 1975, and there have been 5 since, including such august places as Lilleshall and Bisham Abbey. But the NFC, as it was called, was beginning to develop a stigma all of its own as an FA project that would never be built. However, there was a silver lining in these clouds of frustration amongst the football world, and the delay has ultimately enabled us to undertake a complete reappraisal of the vision, and for a new board, which was appointed 4 years ago and I was asked to lead, to create a totally new business plan. So to ensure we built something fit for purpose, that met demand, that met market demand, we undertook exhaustive and extensive research and consultation of all the stakeholders, the Premier League, the Football League, the referees, the league managers, the Players' Union, and indeed the government bodies like DCMS, the Quangos, UK Sport, Sport England, everybody involved to understand what they would want from a national centre. We visited, studied, and benchmarked ourselves against comparable facilities in England with Premier League academies, national football centres around our leading European countries, Aspire in Qatar, for those of you who have ever been there, the Institute of Sport in Canberra, all sorts of national sports centres of other sports like tennis at Roehampton, golf at the Belfry, cricket at Loughborough, and so forth. The end result was a total revamp and a name change. So St George's Park is much, much more than a national football centre as originally envisaged, worthy as that was. Yes, we will have a training home, a world-class training home, but we will also have, as you can see on the screen, a national coach education, performance and sports medicine centre for football, for sport and for business. Our philosophy is really around the value of coaching. And you can see on the screen the message there. Teachers, candidly, have such a defining influence. So better teachers, better coaches of the game equal better players. And if we're serious about being world-class, we need to invest in our teachers. And I always love this quote from Rudyard Kipling: "No printed word nor spoken plea can teach young minds what they should be. Not all the books on all the shelves, but what the teachers are themselves." So the value of teaching. We know what a defining influence our teachers of our children have in schools and the effect that they have on our children, whether they're excited about a subject or not. We may remember those days ourselves, and it is exactly the same thing in sport. So we set about this new vision. We considered our values which are core to everything we did in terms of the design and the building. We spent days sitting with our architect before he would even put a pen or a pencil on the parchment, so to speak. Before he would design one single thing, we had to agree what the DNA of the project was. And these are our value words, and they are still the value words as we move into construction and operation. So what are we building? In very simple terms, 5 pillars. A world-class training facility. A training facility that will be for England, for football. It's funded by football, but that will embrace others. An educational hub that focuses on coach education, but not just that, all the other career pathways. We're linking with the universities, and so I will tell you in a moment. A national centre for sports medicine, science and performance, the first ever fully integrated sports medicine centre of its type in the country. The only thing that's comparable is Headley Court, and that's restricted to our armed services. and we're very excited to be doing this in association with Spire Healthcare. A national centre for grassroots football, because although everybody's interested in the elite, this is something that has to have a profound effect on the entire pyramid of the game. And the investment in coaching at the elite level will cascade all the way down the pyramid to benefit grassroots. And for sport and business, a place which I will come back to where sport and business can properly interact. Outcomes, very briefly, what do we want to see at the end of the day? We want to see a professional development culture ingrained in football. We have it in some areas, but not in others. So encouraging every footballer, every coach, everybody who works in the sport to take personal ownership of their career, for their personal development, for their advancement, responsible as leaders, if you like. More homegrown managers, home and abroad, not only leading England, and we're delighted that Roy Hodgson is today, but Roy Hodgson's successors, homegrown at an advanced level. A winning Club England, a first time that England will ever have had a structured international development centre for all of its teams, 24 teams, including a cerebral palsy team, a deaf and dumb team, a partially sighted team. You know, these teams are just as important as the teams that make our front and, well, hopefully mostly back pages. Careers in coaching respected. In America, if you even talking to the coach of the primary school, you know, it'll be Coach Ibrahim, and it'll be everybody is named by the coach, Coach Vincent, and is respected, revered in the local village, in the local community. We need to take a leaf out of their book and revere our coaches and respect our coaches, as much for the coaches for the junior teams as for the senior teams. FIFA have a fantastic group of sports medicine centres, and we intend for this all over the world, but England doesn't have one. This will be the first, and a renowned centre for sports research. So those are some of the outcomes, but where are we going with this? Sports, St George's Park will come to life through our key partnerships with Umbro, Spire Healthcare, and very importantly with Hilton, who bought into our vision and who we selected as our hotel partners from a very strong field. In addition, we're delighted to have signed agreements with yet more leading brands, including BT, Technogym, Tops, and we're now looking for more to follow. It will, in actuality, be a place where major brands can harness the power of the collective, as Uthi referred to at the beginning, in St George, this Jubilee week, a most compelling and synergistic fashion. Nelson Mandela talked about the power of sport, and I left that on the screen intentionally for you all to digest it. I'm not sure if you can all read it. You hopefully can. But sport does have the power to change the world and to unite and bring people together in a way that little else can. And most particularly, our two hotels on site, our Hilton and Hampton by Hilton, and our empathy with them will enable our plan to work. Hilton are effectively the facilitator for the creation of this sporting hub of education in football, in sport, and in sports medicine. A place to cluster, for focus groups in every area you can imagine of common interest, the sharing, the cross-pollination of ideas, the comparisons of best practice, all in the pursuit of excellence in performance. This pivotal link between the FA and the world of hospitality will allow us to turn St George's Park into a vibrant destination, a cohesive place at so many different levels: managers, coaches, chief executives, non-executives, club medics, physios, groundsmen, commercial directors, community development officers, media, security. There are so many different career pathways now in our burgeoning sports industry, learning from each other. And then the huge and largely untapped area of what sport can learn from business and vice versa. Training camps, focus groups, conferences, exhibitions, training courses, outdoor leadership activities, seminars, away days, residential injury rehabilitation, corporate health checks, hydrotherapy services. It'll have one of the best hydrotherapy suites in the country. The services available at St George's are comprehensive and complement each other. We hope and believe they will be appealing to the marketplace. We have a partnership with Burton and South Derbyshire College at FE level, an affiliation with Liverpool University for their football MBA program, now with Birmingham University for a coach education foundation degree, and in physiotherapy. Loughborough are our neighbours, and I'm sure we'll work with them, and we're engaged in discussions with many leading business schools. The building of this bespoke outdoor leadership training zone is another exciting development, as is the exploration of relationships with our armed services, with Help for Heroes, and with the Royal British Legion. There'll be no room for thinking in silos, and a new St George's Park culture will embrace all the staff on site in one set of shared values across the FA, Hilton, and Spire. Our country, the world, is suffering from fiscal deficit, but the one and every other deficit that we might imagine. But the one that I believe we should all be worried about is the talent deficit. There will be 275 employed on site, and that's just a start, of which about 150 will be new jobs with Hilton. The majority of these for young people from Staffordshire and Derbyshire. What a fantastic opportunity for them to benefit from this new coaching culture embraced by Hilton and us all. One team where the sum is greater than the parts, in Stephen Covey traditions, 1 and 1 and 1 will add to 5. I'm convinced of it. St George's Park will draw people together, harness and develop strengths, support weaknesses, but challenge underachievement. It'll be a catalyst for the Football Association. If we get it right, hopefully a step change in people's image of the Football Association. A genuine, long-term legacy programme that we hope will inspire a new generation of England teams, of homegrown English coaches, and a raft of other career paths in football and other sports. England teams that take the risk of winning, of having more highly trained English coaches that inspire better players, more players. So in closing, I'm going to show you a few photographs. St George's Park will be a destination. 2 hotels quite unlike anything else in the country. A special place. A place to inspire. A place to develop winning and everything that that encompasses. These are just a few photographs. We are literally a month away from practical completion. So that's a view as you drive in. There are the 2 hotels in front of you. Bit of landscaping. The wet weather has put us a bit behind on the grass growing. That's the view of all the way down. It's about half a kilometre long, the whole hotel. It doesn't really show you the scale. But that's the Hilton Hotel and the sports buildings beyond. That's the view that they look at, the stunning countryside in the National Forest. It really is a tranquil place. That's the other wing of the Hampton by Hilton, and a view looking back at it at the Spa and Health Club. And that's a view from below the hotel, looking from the far end. So the right-hand wing is the Hilton, and the left-hand wing is the Hampton by Hilton, with a beautiful formal courtyard in the middle, formal gardens. That's the sports, indoor sports hall, which is 60 by 40 metres, multi-sports for badminton, futsal, netball, tennis, anything you can imagine. And that is the replica of the Wembley pitch with the indoor hall behind it and one of the gyms. There are 5 gymnasia. And that is our little baby, as we call it. It's the biggest indoor hall of its type in the country. It is 120 metres long and 80 metres wide. It is the only properly full-size indoor football pitch in England. And what makes it rather special is that the whole of the eastern wing is glass and opens, and equally on the western side. So you don't feel like you're training in a shed. And that's another view from the outside and some of the pitches. We are very excited and very determined, not remotely complacent, lots of talk to walk, plans to deliver, targets to meet. But most of all, we're excited about our partnerships. And today, specifically with Hilton, and by definition with British Hospitality, and indirectly with all of you. You are pivotal to us realizing our aims, and a conduit for the FA, for football, for the wider sporting world, and for business, to learn from each other and to work more effectively together. I believe that if we get it right, with your help and support, we can become a quintessential example of a successful marriage between hospitality and sport. We will open in September, and we look forward to welcoming you, as many of you as possible, then and beyond. Thank you very much.